Come on, you scroll past everyone and sign. Laugh it off, call it doing fine. Coffee cold on your crooked desk. World on fire, you just need a rest. You scroll, you blink, whole years to slip. Head down in headlines, hard out of sync, you joke. I'm fine, your coffee's cold. You missed the moment, chasing the goal. To be unaware of the times, presented to the eyes. A mistake you can't afford is a gamble with your life. You say I don't wanna know, but the wave is at your door. To be unaware of the times is a cost you can't ignore. Inbox red, but you mute the sound. Talking big with your head in the clouds. Weather changes while you're turned away. Storms already on your street today. Your mama call, you let it ring. Type, call you later, then change the thing. Your kid just danced in socks on tile. You caught it sideways, forgot to smile. To be unaware of the times, presented to the eyes. A mistake you can't afford is a gamble with your life. You say I don't wanna know, but the wave is at your door. To be unaware of the times is a cost you can't ignore. Look up just once, let it hit you. Let it hit you. Truth hurts, so what? It'll save you before it breaks you. What if this day is all you get? Would you still hurry or taste it? Yeah. You scroll past another headline.
TEP, salute.
Root the sirens in your head. Change your channel on the chaos. Say you'll deal with it instead someday. Friends are shouting from the shoreline. You still laughing in the tide. Building castles out of deadlines. Like the water's on your side, yeah. Be unaware of the times, presented to the eyes. A mistake you can't afford is a gamble with your life. You say I don't wanna know, but the wave is at your door. To be unaware of the times is a cost you can't ignore. The signs of the times all around you, but you can't see it, huh? Unable to see with your two eyes and a calcified pineal gland. Wake up. This wholesale hoe gonna.
So I got a little something. I was watching about 10 minutes of. I said, let me get this hour out before I got to get up out this house and share what I just started to watch. Yeah, it's very interesting to me. A lot of people don't like the messenger. I look past the messenger. Let me get this message.
Now, when I first saw this on Friday, as soon as I heard Congressman Massey saw the headline, I knew it was true because Massey had one of the best conservative voting records in modern congressional history. And he's a very honest person. I may disagree with a policy sometimes with him, but I trusted the headline when I saw it. But it wasn't just that. I remember Netanyahu saying it in multiple interviews a month ago, and it being in the Israeli news. And then I saw the Israel lobby run in, even though I went and read the legislation, and say it's not true, it's anti-Semitic, it's made up. Really? And what am I talking about? Overhead shot, please. Congress quietly moves to integrate U.S. and Israel militaries. And that's exactly what it does, but it's worse than that. They're taking it off budget and sticking it inside the classified ledgers of the Pentagon, which last time I checked, if you add it all up, there's one or disappeared starting in the mid-1990s until now. And, of course, they just failed their audit again. So Hegseth says we're going to get all this fiscal responsibility. Then he brags about a $1.5 trillion defense budget. And he says, oh, we've got troops the biggest ever. I think that's a good thing. We've got some of the lowest paid military anywhere for how great they are. That's fine. But they try to mix in pay increases for the military with the rest of the National Defense Authorization Act for 2027, which again, they passed months before the year ends. So coming up later this fall or winter. And so in it, and I've got the subsections here, it says that Israel's funding and military operations will just go into the classified divisions of the Pentagon, and then through those mechanisms, you don't even know how much money they're going to get. And they're calling it partnership with Israel on weapons. And so, and security, so, and intelligence. So that's why Netanyahu's like, hey, we want to wean ourselves off of Washington, and we always hear like 3 billion. And we give that's like the standard amount. We got much to Egypt, a bunch of others. And I'm with Rand Paul. Just kill all the damn foreign stuff. Bring it home. Israel's super wealthy compared to us. They don't need our money. But we have given them over $25 billion in the last couple of years for missiles and weapons. So that is a big deal. $1 billion here, $1 billion there. Pretty soon you got a lot of money you're talking about. But it's far worse than that. Because now you don't just have the Israeli military merging into U.S. operations publicly, but you have it going into that black hole of tens of trillions of missing, green lighting that it won't just be nested inside our military, but Israel will literally be above the law when it comes to auditing or even knowing what's going on. And that is beyond the definition of being a captured country. You have AIPAC, the most powerful lobby, with most members of Congress in their back pocket. You have all the different lobbies, ADL and others, running around, attacking anybody that criticizes it, censoring, debanking, you name it. You've got Mark Levin, everybody calling everybody traitors that just doesn't want to give Israel a total blank check. And then you take this latest legislation and it is just completely insane. And just because the left opposes this on the surface because they're just anti-Israel, period, always are, people go, well, we better support it because the left's against it. You watch, a bunch of Democrats are going to vote for this. This is going to pass on its current trajectory. Just like the Democrats could have, with Republican dissenters, could have overridden the war powers and forced Trump to stop this war that we're in today, 92, 91. How many days are? Let's put it on screen again. So you've got Israel primarying congressmen and members of Congress that don't do what they say. You got Israel being the number one funder in Congress of individual campaigns, and then spending in PACs. And then now, oh, Israel's going to get off our tick. Nope. Sorry. Israel is literally slice us open, crawl inside our belly, and just feed inside our stomach itself at range. So Israel's not just be hanging off the hind tit now. Israel's going to, like a face sucker, plant an egg in our stomach, and then it just feeds inside our stomach till it grows up to big level, and then boom, 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 punches its way out and comes out and says, here's Johnny. So you cannot make it up. When we come back, I'm going to go over the legislation, read it to you, show you Netanyahu admitting it, and then we'll post this to Rumble and X later. And you'll go read the comments. It'll be Israeli bots, traitor, Hitler, not true, Israel, not man. Because Israel over here, yeah, we're doing it. But if you say we're doing it, we're going to call you Hitler. Well, then knock yourself out, man. And then that ties into Iran, because Israel starts bombing its neighbors again, saying, all right, deal's off. Strait of Hormuz closed again. And now the U.S. just started bombing Iran again just a couple hours ago. But there's still a ceasefire, though. And this is the total cuckoo town that we have now gotten into. And no end in sight, completely insane. We'll hit all this in detail, and then I'm going to get into the Ebola and all the fear-mongering and COVID 2.0, and they're clearly trying it where that's going. Then what's really happening with the data centers? Is it all just Chinese hype that the data centers are doing all these bad things? Obviously not, but it's more than a kernel of truth there that China's on the bandwagon, pushing this because they don't want us to have dominance in it. When I say that, I'm not pushing this AI race. I'm explaining what's happening and just analyzing the facts. So we've got all of that coming up as well. But just please remember, whatever you do, you are the emissaries. You are the ambassadors of truth in this 1776 2.0. Hit your email list, your text message list. That's the most powerful thing to do on a daily basis. Run on X. Another Tell the what? The key. The chain reaction. 20+ days. All right, so let's get into the actual documents and meat and potatoes here and how it all obviously all ties in to this giant war we're in. 90+ days in, already sending shockwaves to the global and U.S. economy. Massive inflation. It's pretty much killed Trump's recovery, which was very well designed and very well executed and did so many great things. So sad about that. But I was just supposed to be a cheerleader 90+ days ago and say, no, the mullahs will fall in 4 days and they won't close the strait and it's a genius plan. Listen to Netanyahu and Mark Levin. Everything's wonderful. When you're part of a team, to quote the Lego movie song, everything is awesome. But maybe we should just play that and just show all the headlines of exploding oil and gas prices and inflation and interest rates and Trump recovery on the rocks and Democrats surging in the polls, but just go, everything is awesome when you're part of a team. Hey, Trump, look at Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin with the lowest ratings of any, quote, conservatives out there. Yeah, let's hitch our wagon to the losers. Let's not be the old Trump that was against this war and against all this crap. Let's call our original supporters that stayed true, let's call them traitors. Let's call them low IQ. Really smart. But okay, continuing. Congress quietly moves to integrate U.S. and Israeli militaries. ReasonableStatecraft.org, and it's very accurate when you read the bill. In the first step towards shifting aid further into the shadows, the House 2027 National Defense Authorization Act would all but fuse the two countries' armed forces together. And it literally does that and says they'll coordinate, share intelligence, which is already going on, do it all, but then the funding will come out of a partnership, but the Pentagon and the U.S. taxpayer pays for it. So when you see Netanyahu going, well, we're no longer going to get aid from Congress, we're going to wean ourselves off of that. Yeah, I'll believe it when I see that. But now we're in a partnership in joint weapons development and intelligence. Now, Israel's not part of the Five Eyes. Israel doesn't get complete unfettered access like MI6 and the EU security and Australia, the Five Eyes. Israel does it the other way around. It's in the telecoms with the hubs getting even more. And caller ID and GPS, they're given all the codes. So Israel actually has more actual access than any big tech or any one agency other than the National Security Agency. So if you want to know who has most control over everything, the Internet of Things, smart hubs, your dishwasher, your car, that's kill switches, it listens to you, watches you, it's NSA, Israel, then big tech, okay? But the government keeps the agencies, the other agencies, on short leashes on what they can look at because they don't want anybody to be able to get a big picture of what they're doing, okay? So, and I've had the former technical head of the NSA on this many times. I mean, this is well documented, okay? So, this is more than just a wedding because Israel has the political muscle as the most powerful, undisputed, and most aggressive lobby in the United States that primaries whoever doesn't go along with their every order and floods the zone with foreign money and foreign interference. Well, the last thing you do when you're taking something over is you then merge with it. And so imagine if we said, we're allied with France, and France is now going to move into the Pentagon, and we're going to be partners, but you can't see how much money they get. And that's in the legislation because it's part of the internal budget and classified areas. So, but don't worry, a few senators and House members on the right committees, maybe 25 people in the Senate and House total. We're talking about only like the chairman of these key committees that see all this, okay? It's all very limited. So Netanyahu's responding with Israel having the lowest approval ratings in history and with the average American turning against Israel, left and right, just say, you know what we'll do? We'll just kick all your politicians out that don't submit to us, and we'll just merge with your Pentagon and basically officially occupy your country. And I remember the anti-Israel people that, if you slipped on a banana peel, they said Israel did it, saying one day there'll be Israeli troops overseeing checkpoints, and we'll be locked in cities, and it'll be just like Gaza. And I'm like, yeah, right, sure. because Israel is training a lot of our military and police and all the rest of it. But I was like, it's not going to go that far. And it really is, because I knew Israel had some bad leadership and some bad factions and, you know, did a lot of bad stuff, and we covered it, and we were worried about it and did a lot of coverage of it. But I was worried about communist China and the mad scientist above the globalists and, you know, the big tech and the Islamic systems. I'm up here fighting all the different angles, all the different tyrannical groups, and promoting liberty. You can't just fight tyranny. You got to promote systems of liberty to challenge it. And I'm with Elon Musk. Have more kids, you know, family, natalism, pro-human, team humanity. And I'm like, we don't want to get obsessed with one group. We want to be about policy so we can unify with a big tent, everybody against all the different flavors of globalism. And that's still where I stand. But Israel is making the move on the total takeover of the U.S. and bragging about it and saying, we're the superpower now because we run America, in their magazines and newspapers, and their leaders say it. The head of their national intelligence, literally, we played it last week, said, no, we're not going to let Trump have a peace deal. We basically run America. So now it's in the Defense Authorization Act. You go read it for yourself, that they are merging, and then it's going to be in a secret budget. And as soon as I was reading this, when this broke Friday, I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen Netanyahu on multiple shows say, but very matter of fact, but it sounds very reasonable. Oh, we're just going to have partnerships in weapon development now and share from the profits of this. And then you read it, the Pentagon's going to say, here's our most secret systems, avionics, AI, weapons, missiles. And then Israel will give us one little piece of one of their things, and then we give them everything, and then they get to sell it and make profit from it. So they're literally coming in to even take over the piece of the military-industrial complex pie. That's the keys to the kingdom right there. So this is even more bold than I thought. I mean, this is wild. At a time when the American public is expressing unprecedented levels of distrust in the Israeli government, Congress just proposed tying the U.S. to the Israel military more than ever before. Buried in the House version of the 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, released Tuesday in Section 224, entitled United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. Oh, the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. The provision would arguably do more to intervene and intertwine the U.S. military with the Israel military than more than $200 billion inflation adjusted in U.S. military assistance Israel has received from the U.S. since its founding in 1948. Section 224 lays the groundwork for bilateral research and development and co-production of weapons, joint ventures, license agreements, and seemingly every manner of U.S.-Israeli military industrial complex cooperation. The U.S. and Israel already work together heavily on missiles defense, but this provision would greatly expand the coordination to seemingly every area of the defense tech, including AI. And it's all in there. It says everything. Now listen to me. When I read this and read the legislation, the key sections, I was like, oh my God, that's word for word. You know, I said, it's like, oh, we got some really good missile defense. We're going to give some of that to the U.S., and then we're going to get a little bit of their stuff. And you read it, it's everything. So the U.S. gives all its secret weapons to Israel, lets them into the Pentagon in the secret weapons areas, all the catalogs, the systems, the development systems, and then says, you now share in the money from this, and no one can know what you're paid because it's classified. It's unspeakable. So here it is, Section 224 of the Defense Authorization Act 2027, United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. And let's put the HD version up if we can from the legislation for TV viewers. Again, for your radio listener, I'm just showing the paper article here. Establish the Secretary of Defense shall designate an executive agent, a czar, as such term is defined in the Department of Defense 5101.01 relating to the DoD executive agent issued February 7th, 2022. So they already give this power to Abazar. So they lay the groundwork now. They're creating it. Reasonable for synchronizing cooperative efforts between the United States and Israel to expand, accelerate bilateral defense technology research, development, testing, evaluation, integration, and industrial cooperation. That means the full everything. Identifying jointly developed or Israeli origin technologies with operational utility and for potential in integration into United States systems and programs of record. Now, understand, most of what Israel's got is ours. They rip it off and rebuild it. Though they have developed some stuff. But that's just we're getting it from them, so now they get everything. But you actually read, it gets into it. No, it's everything we've got. But, we're not giving them money. They just run the Pentagon now. Ensuring collaborative research initiatives, giving them all our secrets, involving government, private sector, tell all the defense contractors, hand it over, and academia, institutions in the United States and Israel is done in a manner that protects sensitive technology and information in the national security interest of the United States and Israel. Now, I've had all these former CIA guys on, like Kiriaki, you name it. Nobody steals our data more than Israel, and nobody's better at it. And they sell it to the Chinese, by the way. So this is beyond the fox guarding the hen house. This is the fox running the hen house. And the farmer just grows chickens and feeds it to it directly. He's like, that fox isn't hurting the chickens. He runs it. He's allowed to eat them. That's why we have chickens. They're for foxes, not for us to get eggs or eat ourselves. Well, don't you know? We signed a contract with the fox and he runs the whole farm, actually. Hell, next he might want my daughter. What's wrong with that? You're not anti-Semitic, are you? Now, where else does this go on? What does this remind me of? The EU Unelected Commission, through the Treaty of London 47 and the Treaty of Rome 56, created a steel collective and then began to get governments to sign away their rights in cooperative agreements for development. And then by the time you get to the year 1999, we're the EU, we're taking over, unelected, we control your countries, and now you see where we are today. Because they signed it all away, little pieces. And there's so many other examples of how this works. But what did Eisenhower say in his farewell address in 61? He said, beware a technological elite in our universities that have created their own breakaway system and who are very, very dangerous and who control our military-industrial complex. He went on to say, so beware the undue influence and power of the military-industrial complex. But the main statement's about the technocrats. And now, who are they? Back then and now, they're the mad scientists, the eugenicists, the globalists that believe in world government, depopulation, all the rest of it. And you better know Israel's involved with that at the highest levels as well. The British, U.S. elites, all of it. But they had transferred governmental and corporate and individual power all into these university reservations where they would decide at the highest level, theoretical level, what to build, what to deploy. So this document says total integration, synchronization, meaning live time. When you hear that, that means no buffer. Total access to everything, highest Q level clearance, okay? At the universities, at the defense contractors, at the Pentagon, down to the armed services, down to live telemetry, live drone footage, live AI information, all of it. It's unspeakable. It continues. Section 3, facilitating the transition of technologies from research and development into procurement and acquisition pathways. So there's one little piece of material, one little piece of code from some Israeli invention stuck into our most advanced fighter jets, our most advanced AI, our most advanced systems. They joint own it now. And Israel, of course, is famous for putting backdoors and everything. And you got the head of the ADL saying, we use the same energy we used against Hamas with exploding pagers against the American people that say Israel got us into this war. If you say Israel got us into this Iran war, then we want to kill you with exploding pagers. It's liberal, though. Number 4, establishing frameworks for joint ventures. licensing agreements, and United States-based co-production or manufacturing partnerships with Israeli industry. Well, isn't that nice? That's a little Trump proposal. Well, Israel will own it and run it, but it'll be here in the U.S. 5, coordinating with relevant departments of defense components, including the Irregular Warfare Transport Directorate, Capability Development, Innovation Divisions, and the Undersecretary of Defense for Research, Engineering, the Defense. I mean, this is everything we've got. This is DARPA, ARPA, the keys to everything. Just, you want everything. The American people can't ever see any of it, but you just get everything instantly. I mean, you are us. To a group absolutely sworn to just sell out everything. I mean, that's the Mossad. Coordinating with the relevant Department of Defense components, including the Irregular Warfare Technical Support Directorate, Capability Development and Innovation Divisions, the Undersecretary of Defense for Research and Engineering, the Defense Innovation Unit, the United States Israel Operations Technology Working Group, the Defense Advanced Research Projects, the Missile Defense Agency, the United States Space Command, oh yeah, spaceships, all that, satellites, the military departments and other departments of defense entities as appropriate to align efforts to avoid duplication. The British don't get access to this. The EU doesn't get access. NATO, it's all U.S. stuff. They don't let them touch the satellites, touch the telemetry, touch the, you don't, no, because we're in charge. And you can say it's an evil empire that's been used to do all this and, whatever. But the point is, this is literally giving Israel everything. Promoting joint training exercises and information sharing mechanisms to exchange operational readiness to deploy joint deployed technologies. Cooperative efforts, the synchronized cooperation efforts under subsection A may be carried out through the following domains. Counter unmanned systems, including aerial, maritime, and ground platforms. That's everything. Land, air, sea. Anti-tunneling and subterranean threats. Missile and air defense technologies. Now we're under the ground too. Artificial intelligence platforms. Quantum, machine learning, and autonomous systems. Hunter-killer robots. Directed energy and advanced sensing, all our space goodies. Cyber defense, electronic warfare, and digital resilience, backup systems, backup grids. Biotechnology, manufacturing, and medical defense. That's the bioweapons. Network integration, data fusion, and contested logistics. Defense industrial base cooperation, manufacturing and co-production. Other emerging technologies and jointly agreed United States and Israel. Oh yeah, Israel took us to war. Congress sat back and let it do it. And now it's whatever the people at the Pentagon and Israel say. They're the boss. Activities in coordination with other federal departments and agencies. Oh, all the agencies, everything domestic. It's everything. Oh my God, it goes on. It gets worse. This is so exhausting. And I mean, the boldness of Israel's leadership, the chutzpah to just say, we get everything, we can go into anything. And you got all these military bases flying Israeli flags. And you get all these whistleblowers, high-level generals, people saying, yeah, man, you go to the Pentagon, and it's like Israel runs a show already. Want to read more? Every federal department will do whatever Israel says and give them everything. That's in section 10C. Activities in coordination with other federal departments and agencies. The Secretary of Defense shall coordinate activities as appropriate with the Secretary of State, Secretary of Commerce, and the heads of other relevant federal departments and agencies to ensure consistency with existing laws and regulations. Interim progress update. Not later than 150 days after the day of the enactment of this act, the Secretary of Defense shall provide to the Congressional Defense Committees an interim briefing. Oh, how nice. The executive agent, that's the czar, designated pursuant to subsection A, and the efforts undertaken by such executive agent to lead the Department of Defense implementation of the synchronized cooperative efforts described in such subsection. The status of the coordination, department-wide with Israel counterparts. Oh, yes, integration with department-wide with Israeli counterparts. I mean, that means we in bed, going boom, boom. Initial technology areas identified for accelerated cooperation and technologies with operational utility for integration into United States systems and programs of record. And you hear the new iPhone coming out, main chips built in Israel and run by them. I'm sure there's no backdoors in that. There always are. By the way, everybody does it, but nobody abuses it like Israel. And China's probably more, it's bigger, but any early transition, prototyping, or integration activities initiated during the period covered by this update. Oh yeah, they get all of our secret stuff. Annual report, not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act, the annually thereafter 2030, the Secretary of Defense shall submit to the Congressional Defense Committee a report on improvements and implementation of the cooperative effort described in subsection A each. And it goes into reports on that. Collaborate with all relevant federal programs, just hand everything over. Oh my God, help me. And that was just reading that. It gets worse. So, I mean, now when you see the headlines out there from Massey and others saying, hey, this basically has their military merged with ours. No, Massey's wrong. It's worse than what he said, okay? Then you see the Israeli lobby. Oh, that lying son of a bitch. You know, what the hell? It doesn't seem real. Meanwhile, I got Netanyahu admitting it. We'll come back and play that and more. And I'm going to finish up with this and then tie it into what's currently happening in Iran. Then I'm going to move into the AI data centers, and that's come to a head. Boy, is it crazy. And is China really hyping that? We know. Well, this is important. It's coming up. And then the viruses and all the rest of it. Just remember, if a tree falls in the forest, but nobody heard it make a sound, did it make a sound? We're reaching millions of people. That ain't enough, folks. The globalists are doing all this do it without you. So share the in that out. Turn economic invasions.
I'm Dr. Bigley. Today's presentation on might all hoot is we're
going to get into the ongoing globalist funded run Islamic invasion over here. And the answer is integrate with Israel. Bring them over here. Moment. We're going to get into the ongoing globalist funded run Islamic invasion in a moment. Where we go fight them over there and then they just bring them over here. And the answer is integrate with Israel and have the Israeli, not their military, that's the cover story. You read the legislation in the official Defense Authorization Act, which they're trying to pass, to give Israel the codes to everything, the satellites, the NSA, all the secret weapons, just let them into everything, just give it all to them. And that's how Israel's now going to be funded, is off of all of our defense tech. Oh, he goes, we're going to sell you the components to one of our anti-missile systems when our stuff is just as good or better. And that'll fund Israel now. When he said that a month ago, I said, there's some hanky-panky here. There's some skullduggery here. And then we get the legislation. It's above the law. You can't audit it. You can do whatever it wants. It goes into the secret, whole budgetary system of how the Pentagon licenses these weapons to the defense contractors, and they license the money back. And sometimes it comes from the defense contractor, and then it's licensed back. It's like the Pentagon was involved with COVID-19 and patenting that, and then selling it to Bill Gates and all the rest of it. Oh yeah, Barrick. I'm gonna get this coming up. Chapel Hill, the development of COVID-19. Pentagon contract. So the Pentagon ran the propaganda of the COVID-19 rollout. When you're a Pentagon, you think of like Army soldiers or Marines or people in the Navy. Those are the human military, our people that go out and do real missions and believe they're fighting for America and follow their orders. And sometimes the war is not good or not perfect, but they're good people, the best there are. When you talk about the military-industrial complex, Eisenhower was the supreme allied commander, not anti-military, not anti-America. He said, you beware the technocrats, the technological elites, to quote. That's a technocrat. That's the definition of a technocrat, but he knew people wouldn't know what that meant in 61, most of them. A lot of people weren't well-learned then. People were more learned than they are now, but he's like, a technological elite that runs DARPA and the big universities is not on our side and controls the military-industrial complex. So watch out. These technocrats are in control of our military. And it's on record they were hiding technology from him, not just UFO stuff. He talked about it. So these mad scientists, they're the top of the food chain. They're the great white shark. They're the apex predator. They're the Bengal tiger in the jungle. Okay? They're the polar bear. Yeah, and its domain is the biggest, baddest thing there is. Okay? And then down feeding through all of it are these governments and different predator groups that got control of their public but make deals with the higher technocrats above it. So there's all these people getting into the New World Order, the Federal Reserve's private, and how, politics has become rigged, and it's incredible revelations, just so stunning. Great, I'm glad people are learning the basics, but you need to know what runs it at the top of it. And it's a post-human, anti-human system that says humans will be obsolete in their own official documents. But now, take Jonathan Pollard. This is a guy who spent decades in prison for stealing U.S. secrets and selling it to the world. Horrible creature. He's like, we need to go ahead and nuke Iran and drag the U.S. into it. He goes, American Jews need to spy against the United States for Israel. I'm very proud of what I did. You've seen the clips. Well, imagine turning 10,000 Jonathan Pollards loose in Space Command, the NSA, the CIA, all federal agencies, Department of Commerce, Department of Labor. It orders, in fact, it isn't just the Pentagon. Every federal agency's ordered, just give them everything, access, integration, lifetime, integrate. And lifetime integration, baby, means you might be married to your wife. I don't mean a gross analogy, it's not gross, but I mean, it's just a real one. Like, it's your wife, you've been married 15 years, you've got kids, you love each other, whatever. But I mean, you're not 100% integrated all the time. I mean, when you're having physical sex, you guys are one, you're integrated, okay? You're at work or whatever. She might be integrating with the mailman right now. But this is literally Israel live time sticking its weenie in us in everything. Like live time, 100% wiener in all the time. I'm sorry to use the analogy, but I mean, this is full on Israel's proboscis up our arse forever. I mean, this is maximum insane total takeover. They don't let other federal agencies have integration into the other main federal agencies. Very selective, you know about the turf wars there. There's reasons for all that, good and bad. I mean, this is just, listen, America, put your feet behind your ears. We're raping you with a cactus. Okay, I'm gonna stop the sexual analogies. But I mean, it's the only ones I can think of here. I mean, Pollard is like, I got a 10-foot cactus here. No lube, get ready. It's a lot of fun. And if you just joined us, I spent 30 minutes last hour reading the subsections legislation. You cannot make this up. You cannot exaggerate this. Like Massey and others last week. Yeah, it kind of merges the Israeli military with ours. It's a lot worse than that. I mean, why do we have any separation from other nations? Who else are we going to merge with, huh? Oh, remember, we always heard the UN's going to take over, and they do have plans. They got Congress to sign over a lot of our rights, and we've clawed that back, and Trump got us out of a bunch of the UN garbage. We have the WEF trying to come in and take control through legislation domestically. But Israel just comes in, they're like, we're controlling who gets elected, we're dumping money in here, we're going to primary anybody that gets on our ass, we're going to censor you, we're going to treat you like Hamas with the same energy we did with pagers against American citizens. That, as a litmus test, say that Israel drugged the U.S. into war 90-something days ago. Israel brags they did. So If the UK was trying this, if the Chinese were trying it, which they've been trying, but imagine the Chinese, yeah, we're integrating with the Chinese military, everything, I'd be against it. And I don't say that as, oh, don't be mean to me, Israel. Oh, God, I like you, whatever. I do not like who's running your country. You're out. You're evil. You're nuts. You're on a power trip. But you know you've bit off more than you can chew. So you're cornered. And so this is you're committed. I get it. And I just wish you learned to back down, but you don't. So this is going to get nasty. So we now have President Jeffrey Trump, or I guess he'll be President Jonathan Pollard Trump. Donald Jonathan Pollard Trump. Should just DJPT. This is his new initial. John. JJ. P. D. Donald. How would your initials be? Donald Jonathan Pollard Trump. DJPT, yeah. That's Trump's new initials. DJPT. Donald Jonathan Pollard Trump. Hail him as your new leader. Salute your leader now. And there's that young, oh yeah, we don't need your money anymore. Oh, we just got some defense deals. Yeah, we're going to joint develop some weapons and make a little money together. And then it's total takeover of everything. Live time integration. That almost no one in our own military, I mean, they don't give the heads of the NSA all the codes of the CIA or vice versa. They don't give the head of Northcom all the codes of the other. You just don't want all the eggs in one basket. But, oh, Israel, you get everything. Ooh. And Jonathan Pollard sitting there with a little twinkle in his eye and a raging political hard-on to nail us against the wall. You know, George Orwell said, you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stomping on the human face forever. And instead, it's just being tied up at the mercy of Mark Levin and Jonathan Pollard and Ben Shapiro. Wow. And what does it say about us? I mean, this is what rules us? God almighty, this is sick, man. You can tell, I mean, there's a lot of good about humanity. There's good people in every group and the rest of it. But, man, if you look at what the cowardice of the average person, the laziness just to bow down to whoever the biggest thug is, you got Islam that is just metastasizing and getting more disgusting by the minute. Especially when it like mixes into the most decadent parts of the West. It's just like, ooh, look at that mutation. It's just wow, that's, woo. And then, and you got what Israel's turned into and the Chi-Coms and all their anti-human, transhumanist, just next level arms race to the end of humanity. And you've got the EU totally satanic and the UK and all the pedophile garbage and just...
Dude, for the shit what they turn into. That's what they always been, fool. Quit playing games. He almost slipped up and said he was a puppet earlier.
And this is what we've turned into. God help us. I'm going to finish up on Iran and move to the other big subjects. There's so many. The AI data centers and the latest developments there that are the key. And but since I've been mentioning it for over an hour, let's go to Netanyahu. So when the Israel lobby neocons go, it's insane. We're just simply going to share anti-missile defense system with Israel. That's all this is. How dare you claim that we're merging them into all of our most secure areas? Blah, blah, blah. Here's Netanyahu soft selling this, rolling this out like it's, oh, no big deal. Nothing to see here. Just a minor arms deal that we're developing. And then go into some of these clips of Pollard. Here, let's show him on Turkey and Egypt are next. You're like, remember I told you that a couple years ago. I said after they think they've got Iran, or once they've got the U.S. committed to the full war, sleepwalking into this, which they know wasn't going to happen overnight, if ever, The real target is then to somehow create false flags or rope us into war with Egypt and Iran and Turkey, the biggest conventional military in Europe. In Western Europe, if you count it as Western Europe, let's just say it's the largest in NATO, conventional army. Not as big as the Russians, but it's big. And how are they going to get us into that? And you're like, well, we won't do that to our ally, Egypt. Obama funded the Muslim Brotherhood to overthrow it and blow up thousands of churches and kill tens of thousands of Christians and rape every Western woman they get their hands on, including Laura Logan. There's footage of hundreds of men raping her. Because Durka Muhammad Jihad, you think anywhere else in the world, you think you go to Japan or China or hell, even Congo, Africa. Some of the most savage people in the world, and if they catch you having homosexual sex, they kill you. If they catch you raping some woman randomly, they kill your ass. But in the Middle East and everywhere, it's also normal in India. It's just rape that woman. Rape. And we're just supposed to love it. But that's who Obama with his Arab Spring. Remember, Al Gore said, I like the Arab Spring. We need one of those here. And you're like, oh, well, then Pollard's our friend. He wants to attack Egypt. Egypt is allied with Israel right now. Our government overthrew it for a while until they took it back on their own to put the radical Muslims in, just like Israel created Hamas and funded them so they have bad guys they can attack. Comprende. You think Israel was really going to install some pro-Western government in Iran if they were able to have Iran fall? They didn't do it. In 53 with Operation Ajax, and that was British intelligence and U.S. intelligence. The globalists don't want stability. Yeah, go to Netanyahu and then go to him talking about greater Israel. And then let's go to him talking about Israel needs to immediately drop a nuclear bomb on Iran. Yeah, let's talk about the aftermath of what that would do. Go ahead and play the clips.
The way America sees itself.
On that point, looking forward, Mr. Prime Minister, do you believe it's time for the state of Israel to re-examine and possibly reset its financial relationship to the United States, meaning what the United States provides to Israel on an annual basis?
Absolutely. And I've said this to President Trump. I've said it to our own people. Their jaws drop. But I said, look.
Well, what do you mean? What are you saying?
What I'm saying is that I want to draw down to zero the American financial support, the financial component of the military cooperation that we have, because we receive $3.8 billion a year. Now, it's true you spend trillions of dollars or hundreds of billions and billions of dollars in Afghanistan and so on. And one of your senators said, hell, if we had in Israel instead of Afghanistan, over there, we wouldn't have to spend $1 trillion. It'll be a lot cheaper. But I'm saying it's going to be a lot cheaper because I want to draw down the American support for Israel to zero. We've come of age. We have a booming economy. After 3 years of war, our currency is the strongest it's ever been in the last 50 years, maybe more. Our stock market is one of the leading stock markets in the world. It's because we have this very high-tech juggernaut economy, one of the two centers of cross-discipline, breaking technologies, just changing the world. And we have a lot of talent here, which we share with our American friends, and we're going to share it with our Arab friends too. And I think that it's time that we weaned ourselves from the remaining military support and go from aid to partnership. So I want to draw it down, and then I want to suggest projects, joint projects for intel, for weapons, for missile defense. Israel, I think, is a leader in this in the world. Many countries come to us for it. I'd like to share it with the United States. We put an exact amount of money. You put the same. We share the fruits exactly. Now, I'm not just speaking here because I did this. We had financial aid. When I first came in 1996,
yes,
first time I became prime minister. And I was invited by the U.S. Congress for a joint session, one of four such.
All right, let's stop there. We'll go to the next clip in a moment. But, we just put in money and then we share the fruits, but it's our technology at the Pentagon and access to everything. And then you just say, we put in this money, now we get joint access to projects that are already complete. But that's even a side issue. It gives them access to all of our intelligence and all of our systems instantly. Now look at this. Pastor Hagee, you're a Satanist if you don't support the Jewish people. And that means whoever's in command over there. Sign it all over now. Jew hatred flows in this country, especially in our universities. It's time for a nation as a Bible believing nation. Stand up and support the Jewish people. That means support whatever King Herod says, whatever Saul says, whatever Jonathan Pollard says. Let's go to Jonathan Pollard.
I'm not so sure that we will have as easy a time with the Turks as we've had with the Iranians. I've been following Turkish military doctrine, and
the strongest army in the Middle East.
The storm is coming.
Yes, of course. And they're a member of NATO.
And even worse, they're a member of NATO. So I look at Iran as a problem we absolutely have to finish, and I'll explain what I mean by that. Gaza, same thing, and the Hezbollah. Why? Why am I fixated on this now? Because we have to be prepared for the next war, which will be probably against Turkey and Egypt. For the United States and the West, nuclear weapons at any level, tactical, strategic, EMPs, whatever, are viewed as something that should only be used as a last resort. And even then, very carefully, on an escalation ladder, as they say. With me, I don't care if you start throwing nukes immediately, responsibly, but immediately. And a case that I've been pushing is the use of an electromagnetic pulse weapon or weapons against Iran. Why are we waiting to get hit? I'm not so sure that we will have as easy a time with the Turks as we've had with the Iranians. I've been following Turkish military doctrine and
the strongest army in the Middle East.
The storm.
America is bewitched with Satanism and witchcraft. There's a revival of witchcraft sweeping this nation right now. We are a nation of drive-by shootings, sex trafficking, child abuse, anti-Semitism, and Jew hatred flows in this country, especially out of our universities. It's time for this nation, as a Bible-believing Christian nation, stands up and supports the Jewish people and shuts down every form of anti-Semitism.
And literally on record, the Israeli lobby writes the talking points for Hagee for decades. Now, Hagee down in San Antonio, decades ago, I saw the clip many times. He goes, Jesus was not the Messiah, but a rebel that was dealt with wisely by the Jews. The Jews dealt wisely with the rebel. Well done. String him up. That's how you do it to Jesus. Because he's a part of the witchcraft too. Yes, the human trafficking of the children, the witchcraft, the devil worship. You mean like in the Epstein files, all confirmed? Satanism, devil worship, cannibalism, child rape. There are devils in the government that protected Epstein. Epstein, the Nazi. Epstein, the Mossad agent. Yes. Those that speak out against Epstein are of the devil. He was an angel helping to deal with the enemy Jesus. Those are joke quotes, but I mean, none of it's congruent. None of it has anything to do with reality. Witchcraft is spreading. Pedophilia and Satanism is everywhere. Human trafficking, let's do something about it. Because it's against the Jews. They're fighting. Epstein was waging war against the pedophiles. And now people are mad at Trump because he was protecting this hero that was battling the pedophiles. Essentially what he's saying. Now I speak to you in this fake voice of authority. Jesus was not the Messiah, but a rebel in his... zealot who the Jewish authorities dealt with wisely.
All right, y'all. That's all I want to do was play this little video where he was going through the bill. He was reading all the shit from the bill. He spent about, I guess, 30 minutes on reading that shit. All the intricacies and shit to the bill. Real diabolical, you motherfuckers on a mission. I said in the comments, don't forget the number one threat to them small hats from the horse's mouth is the black youth. I'll just be talking. I gotta get my day started. I figured I'd spend an hour playing this shit and get back to my day. Run it back if you didn't catch it.
Breeze on the beat. Come on, you scroll past everyone is signed. Laugh it off, call it doing fine. Coffee cold on your crooked desk. World on fire, you just need a rest. You scroll, you blink, whole years to slip. Head down in headlines, hard out of sync, you joke. I'm fine, your coffee's cold. You missed the moment, chasing the goal. To be unaware of the times, presented to the eyes. A mistake you can't afford is a gamble with your life. You say I don't wanna know, but the wave is at your door. To be unaware of the times is a cost you can't ignore. Inbox red, but you mute the sound. Talking big with your head in the clouds. Weather changes while you're turned away. Storms already on your street today. Your mama call, you let it ring. Type, call you later, then change the thing. Your kid just danced in socks on tile. You caught it sideways, forgot to smile. To be unaware of the times, presented to the eyes. A mistake you can't afford is a gamble with your life. You say I don't wanna know, but the wave is at your door. To be unaware of the times is a cost you can't ignore. Look up just once, let it hit you. Let it hit you. Truth hurts, so what? It'll save you before it breaks you. What if this day is all you get? Would you still hurry or taste it? Yeah. You scroll past another headline. Mute the sirens in your head. Change the channel on the chaos. Say you'll deal with it instead someday. Friends are shouting from the shoreline. You still laughing in the tide. Building castles out of deadlines. Like the water's on your side, yeah. Be unaware of the times, presented to the eyes. A mistake you can't afford is a gamble with your life. You say I don't wanna know, but the wave is at your door. To be unaware of the times is a cost you can't ignore. The signs of the times all around you, but you can't see it, huh? Unable to see with your true eyes and a calcified pineal gland. Wake up. This wholesale hoe gonna
Eat the fruit, plant the seed, eat the meat, spit out the bones. Do what you will. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.